Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Absorbed All Life from the Planet. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Got a New Tail Beast from the Shinigami. Remember to go ahead and get this one to 100 like as usual, share it to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also if you're new, yes guys, I did have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post What If on every single day. Yes, you heard that correctly, every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, what do you say we jump on into this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, a rather beautiful young lady, Karin Uzumaki, was stuck in a village as they were going to show her off with the lords near the demon country because of her special ability, as she was with the leader of the land of grass. He had allowed the lord there to bite her to heal himself, and the man's arms kept on wandering all over. For the most of her life, she had been in this predicament. First, it was her mother who was taken by these people and used. Even when her mother was dying of chakra exhaustion, they didn't stop, because their ability allowed people to heal by biting them, and she received the same treatment. Her life was one of misery. The leader knew that he couldn't be trusted with anything too sharp around her, because more than likely she didn't want to take this anymore, so he kept her well confined and protected. But that was the one thing she knew: he always wanted her to live. But that is when it happened. It was like a swarm of power entering the village. Karin was a sensor, so she sensed it quite hectically. As she ran, she bounded on the door as the man came. The guard in her ran. But the influence spread as she heard slaughterization happening all over the village. Strange stone warriors started to slaughter almost everyone. She ran and she ran. It was then that she saw the leader as he was killed. She then saw the guy. He had long red hair. Those eyes, match. There was just something about him. Naruto's presence was almost overwhelming to a normal person. And Karin, who was a censor, it didn't take long for her to submit to it well. His presence being just too much for her to handle, as she gave herself over. As Naruto was spreading a conquest over a large land, he had already taken over the land of demons, with Shen under his control now. As he continued to move, we then skip to Sasuke Uchiha. It has been 9 months since he has been training under Orochimaru, as he was taken to a room where Kabuto gave him a new blade. The way he attacked Orochimaru with it, he wanted to kill him, as he did not show any regard for Orochimaru's life, but Orochimaru took it off as a joke, because he knew at the end of the day he would be getting his body. But they were wondering though, where was Gurren? Gurren has been gone for some time now, as it wasn't like her to return back late, so something must have happened, Kabuto said to his master, but Orochimaru said that she could handle herself out there, and she'll be back soon enough. Meanwhile, Gurren had to tell Yukimaru and his protector to run away, as a giant guy tried to protect Yukimaru. While she faced off against the stone warriors, it was just so much of them. It was then that Naruto showed up, showing that he killed the other guy, Gozu, as she attacked him. But her blade did not even scratch him as she slashed at his throat. What was he? The next thing she knew, she was unconscious. She woke up in a bed with a woman that was barely dressed, as she was referring to the Uzumaki as master. And it was then that Gurren was brought to her room. The clothing that she was forced to wear was so humiliating, as she saw him standing there. She asked him where Yukimaru was. Gurren had no intention of fighting because she knew he would kill Yukimaru, not to mention she had slit his throat. She had tried to whiff her crystal dagger, but yet, it didn't even faze him. He wasn't even human, if she could possibly say, because there was no way that her dagger did not even cut his skin. That was impossible. But he gave her an option though, her to surrender herself to him willingly, by the both of them, engaging together. Gorin swore in her mind that she would never give up, but after the first round she was already feeling broken, as she couldn't tell if this person was human or not. There was no possible way he was human, and there was 199 left to go. We then skip to Jiraiya. Jiraiya has been in a lousy mood ever since the death of Naruto, another student that he failed to save. Jiraiya went towards the Netsuko village, and it was... he could not understand. The place was a mess. There was no one in sight. It seemed like a war had happened here. As he did not understand what the hell was going on, he had summoned Gamikichi as he brought him back towards the Toad Land. Arriving there, the Great Toad came to speak to him, as he gave him another prophecy, one that Jiraiya couldn't really understood. But Jiraiya knew that he would be insulting Naruto's dream and determination because Naruto was never one to give up. So with that, he tried to steel himself for what is to come, as he decided to ask Fukazaku about tweaking the Sage Mode a bit, as he had an idea. So yeah guys, that's basically what I thought. You guys can switch across the playthrough of yourself. So what do you say we just jump on right into this new episode? Let's begin guys, now. Sage Mode was one of his best techniques, so versatile. There was his Master Sage Mode, where the red pigment around his eyes would appear, and his pupil turned into a toad-like bar. And then there was his Advanced Sage Mode, where the red pupil would extend towards his cheeks, and a red circle appear on his forehead. It was the one that Hoshirama Senju had mastered. Finally, there was a True Sage Mode, when a being became one with nature and opened the inner eye to it, where the red circle would converge and form. Only Old Man 6 of Sage Path did this, until he finally mastered it, of course. But his was a bit twisted. It turned into a ripple. 6 Path Senjutsu though was a completely different ballpark compared to the rest. Regardless, he appreciated the fine mastery of mastering natural energy. It was a gift, one that he could not repay enough. It was in Sage Mode that he finally found who he was looking for, a young man named Utakata, and a pretty blonde, as Naruto could feel the natural energy in the seal in her back. What an abomination of a seal, he thought. 4 years now he has been working on seals, the Uzumaki inside of him shining brightly in that category. He waved towards them. "Good evening," he said, as he deactivated Sage Mode. "Pardon my intrusion, but do you happen to know anyone of the Tsuchigumo clan?" "No," Utakata said, with a smile. "Can't say we have. What brings you to the neck of these woods?" "Oh, I enjoy being in the woods a lot. Something about it just pulled me towards it," he said, taking a step forward. His eyes looked towards the girl, Hodoru. She was really pretty from what he remembered, and his heightened sense of lust made him look at her in a different way. "I hadn't noticed how pretty she was." "She is, but she's spoken for," Utakata said, quickly shutting him down, as Naruto raised his hands. "Forgive me if I overstep, but it's very hard," he said, to not glance at her twice. "Yes, I'm sure." "Well, if that is all you want," Utakata said, "follow that path and you will find the road to the main route." "Thank you," said Naruto. "It is such a shame," he said. "What is?" "That I have to kill you," said Naruto. The air became tense around them. I ran into a village that happened to know of the Tsuchigumo clan. Imagine my surprise when I find that the heiress was not there. To be honest with you, Utakata, I didn't plan on meeting you. In fact, I never planned on meeting any of my siblings for now. But if this be my fate, know this. It will be much quicker than you think." "Who the heck are you?" Utakata said as he reached for his bubble relic as he held it in his hand, as Naruto hated the last time he was tricked by that. "Well, Mr. 6, Utakata's eyes widened. "I'm Mr. 9. Well, actually, I'm Mr. 10, but you wouldn't get it. Saikon does though. You should ask him." Immediately, he was swarmed by black bubbles. Through the skirmish, you could see clearly Utakata was making his getaway bubble. Activating Kamui, he let the bubbles collide with each other as black liquids collide. Had he been a normal being, it would have ate away at his flesh and bones. But even if it hit him, he doubts it would happen. "Well, gotta give credit where it is due. He tried to kill me right off the bat," said Naruto, as he cracked his neck. As he watches Utakata drift away, What should I do? He said, tapping his chin. Oh, I know. Wing release. Wingless flight, he said, as wind gathered at his feet and his legs. And his back of his arm as well, as he jumped and skipped, before he started to run up the air. He yelled, "Woohoo!" as he saw the look of shock on their faces as he flew after them. 4 bubbles flashed towards him. He glided around them as they exploded. Picking up more speed, he flew directly towards the bubble. Using Kamui once more, he got right in the center of the bubble. As he placed the armor on Hodoro, she was about to scream, but he placed a hand over her mouth. "Shh," he said. She looked beyond terrified, tears flowing out of her eyes. Naruto looked at Utakata with a smile. "Calm down, Hodoro," he said, without looking at her. "We're all friends here. Besides, I'm here to help you with that seal of yours." Utakata threw a punch, as Naruto turned his head and blocked it. "Utakata, we're talking here. Have some manners." "Who the hell are you?" Utakata asked. Naruto smirked as they were all sucked away. He brought them all back to his court. That is what he liked to call it. Deep in the center of the courtyard of the former priestess mansion, there was a massive white tree. It's like the experiment. A lot of cocoons were hanging from the branches. He jumped back, Hodoro still wrapped up by him. "Welcome to Uzumaki Castle," Naruto said. As Utakata looked around, "I do hope you have a nice time." Red chakra started to bubble out of Utakata. Before his transformation could happen though, 2 clones faced beside him as they hit him with black rods. As his transformation spiraled out, he fell as a wood dragon came from a tree and wrapped around Utakata's legs. As Hodoro started to freely cry, the clones brought the rods down and drive it into Utakata's hands, pinning him down to the ground. They conjure more rods as they started viciously and violently hit him. "Stop!" Hodoro screamed. "Please, I'll do anything," she begged. He turned towards her. "Anything?" The clones stopped as Utakata looked up to see Naruto's hands all over Hodoro. As she shook and cried, her body naturally reacted to his touch. He enjoyed this part so much. "They stopped, didn't they, Hodoro?" "Yes," she said as she squirmed a bit. "I'm sparing him. All you have to do is do what I say." "No!" Utakata yelled out. He cried in pain as the clone whacked him over the head. You let him go," she said. Naruto cuffed her cheeks. "I'll free him. I'll even get rid of that seal off your back." "Shh, don't worry. Nothing will happen, trust me. I know better about seals than anyone." "So what do you say?" Yes," she said. He snapped his fingers from his side. A woman came out. She was wearing a thin white clothing that barely covered her assets. Her mouth was covered by a veil that was rather easy to remove, as her chest was covered by two strange crystals. She had a pleasant smile under that veil, eager to do what he said. "You called for me, master." "Yes, Gurin," said Naruto. By the time they had reached round 75, Gurin had been completely broken. Endlessly, mercilessly, she couldn't help herself of the ungodly pleasure that he gave her, and she became his. "Take her, give her a bath, and make her ready," said Naruto. "Of course, master," said Gurin, as she took Hodoro's hand and brought her into the castle. Utakata looked at him with hate and tears in his eyes. Naruto chuckled at chain come from his palm. The head of the chain looked like a dragon. "I lost a fair bit of chakra traveling back here," said Naruto with a smirk as he sat down. "Time to get that back," he said, as the chain shot forward. "Time skip. Anything else, Hawk?" "No, my lord. No tracks." "No, my lord. Leave." The soldier left. As Danzo Shimura cursed in his mind, there were a few things that Danzo Shimura hated, and the lack of information was one of them. Civilian villages, minor shinobi villages, merchant villages. They were being sacked and burned to the ground. 2 daimyos missing. And on top of that, Snatty was doing everything in this village to lessen his influence over the top. All of his envoys throughout the nations made the same report. Villages with carcasses. Not knowing what happened infuriated him. But he tried his best to remain patient. That was his strongest will. To remain patient in times of dire situation. Just a bit more time, he thought to himself. He would have to wait to find out what will happen. Or what is gonna happen. As he was sitting in his chambers, he removed the bandage off and the bracers. A Sharingan eyes blinked. This was the one thing that the Uchihas were useful for. Serving Konoha. It was a shame that Orochimaru had plans for Itachi's younger brother. Danzo wanted to approach him with the plans of vengeance, promises, in exchange for loyalty. He suggested to Hiruzen once before, offering to train Uchiha, even the Jinchuriki, but Hiruzen denied him. It was a big shame that the boy never got the love that Itachi had for the village. His artificial arm itched a bit. It has been acting funny for the past few months now. Perhaps Orochimaru wasn't as skilled as he claimed to be, and he was promised a new arm by the snake over a year ago. A year and a half, he reminded himself. It has been a year and a half since the death of the Jinchuriki. Danzo picked up his Konan as he looked back at Shisui's eye. The pinwheel remained stiff as ever, refusing to fully budge to his will, only allowing him control over people, influence, and their decisions. Still, it got the job done though. And in a few years he will become Hokage. Hokage, the word pleasantly, rolled off his tongue. He could see his face alongside those that rule over the village. His face alongside the god of Shinobi. His face alongside Tobirama. Alongside his friend the professor. Alongside the Yellow Flash. That bright Snazzy as well. Destiny will finally arrive. It will be late, but it will finally arrive all the same. It almost made him smile. Shisui's eye pulsed a bit before blood spurted on the kunai. Everything was moving so slow. The world twisted as a fluid dripped on his face. He then disappeared from the world, returning with the empty eye socket. He yanked out the eyeball as he ripped the cord that was attached to it and glared at the remains of the eye. Anger rose inside of him as he snapped his head around. Years of planning down the drain. No one. He felt no one. He heard no one. He saw no one. Rage started to fester inside of him. Damn. And here I was expecting your head to pop like a balloon. You got a thicker skull than I gave you credit for. The voice mocked him loudly. Laughter came from all sides as Danzo felt movement under his feet. Lines of ink spreading all over the room. In 4x tiles. All over the surface. It covered all. Imprisonment and silence in seal, Danzo thought. He was down one eye. His most important eye, and he was blindsided. Someone had betrayed him. He would figure that out later. For now, he needed to deal with the enemy. Chakra particles flowed out of his mouth as he coated the blade in his hand. As he released a slash, he hit nothing. More than 10 meters, he thought. He concentrated chakra to his ears, trying to locate who was in the room with him. But there was nothing. He tried to escape. He had to break the seal. He flashed through hand sign, wind style, vacuum wave, as he hit something far away, 15 meters northwest. Wind style, vacuum spear. Wings that were meant to sever his target blasted off, but then the blades were repelled as they slammed into the area all around. Really? Wind against me? As the person stepped out of literally nowhere, he was standing in mid-air before he started to descend down to the ground. His frame was muscular. He wore all black, but his red hair stood out like a wildfire, reaching well below his shoulders. His eyes were closed but Danzo knew that face. He kept an eye on that face since he grew up in the orphanage. You're alive, said Danzo. As the boy opened his eyes, they were different. Red eyes with black slits engulfing shadows. Kyubi. You took your time coming back to the village. Sorry, I had to take a detour. My good old buddy, old friend, old pal, drove his entire arm through my chest. He really loved to aim for my art. Anyway, sorry I took so long getting here. How did you find this place? Danzo asked, as he noticed the boy was far different than before. He looked a lot older than he should have been, and his physique was too advanced. The time period that he was given shouldn't allow him to be that advanced, and he shouldn't have aged that much. And mentally, he was operating on a different scale, loud yes, but he was much more subdued. But the thing was, Naruto Uzumaki had never met him once. He didn't know about this space or his eye. Oh, I know about this place for some years now. Study it, and know all your dirty secrets. As Naruto stepped towards his throne, he merely kicked it. It exploded into dust and debris. The Jinchuriki then reached in and pulled out a jar, filled with red eyes. I gotta admit though, there was a lot less ice here when I found this baby here. You've been here before, Danzo said. The boy was obviously lying, he thought. Yep, although by that time you were dead. Danzo's chimera narrowed his gaze, kunai in hand. What? Yeah, but that's a discussion that you're not ready for. Hey, I need you to do something for me. And what will that be? The boy smirked. His eyes shifted into the Sharingan. Die. Danzo felt his chest compress. Ribs caged in from all sides as blood exploded out of his throat. Once more he disappeared. Another eye on his arm closed. As he returned, already going through hand signs, he threw out a kunai towards the boy. Deadly winds came from the blades as they converged on the brat. He simply smacked them out with his hands, and Danzo felt something grip his throat as he looked up into the boy's eyes. His throat was crushed, and once again he died. He reappeared as he flashed through hand sign. Wind style. Vacuum serial waves. Several blades of wind that were strong enough to pierce through the strongest armors. He was sure that even the Raikage would try to avoid such an attack. The boy cocked his fist back. There was a strange glow around it as he started to punch. He shattered all the wind blades like they were nothing. What? Said Danzo. What? Said Naruto. I expected a bit of a chit-chat. Maybe a little monologue. Don't make this so boring. Danzo held back a glare. He couldn't let the boy see it. It made no sense. The boy had the Sharingan. His speed was too great. His body was too strong. His toothy grin was too annoying. He already used his Nage 3 times. He flashed through hand sign, but the boy raised his fist and motioned for him to come. Hit me with your best shot. I'll give you a free hit, but you better not miss. Otherwise, Danzo cut him off. Wind style. Vacuum great spear. A large massive spear shot forward. Crushing winds compressed on the boy from all sides. They should rupture his organs. The boy's body started to shake violently from being hit by the powerful jutsu. It's not enough. It could only hold him at bay. Danzo bit his thumb right to summon Baku, but he only tasted air. Its left arm was beside him on the ground, and Naruto Uzumaki stood back to back with him. You're gonna regret it, said Naruto, finishing what he was about to say earlier. Danzo turned and slammed a fist into his face. I've been letting you off the hook. 60 seconds between each attack that I've made, said Naruto, as he was still speaking despite the fist. I even gave you a free shot, but you just wasted all. Naruto reached and grabbed his hand, his fingers piercing into the Sharingan on Danzo's arm and started to crush. Naruto then thrust his fist forward. It felt like a mountain and literally dropped into his chest. The impact was too much. Danzo hit the wall several feet away. He blinked as Naruto's feet was coming down toward his face. He was unable to move. His head was crushed. He reappeared. As he was crushed. He reappeared. He was crushed. He reappeared. He was crushed once again. And again. Danzo, in a fit of desperation, released it. As he saw the boy looking at Hoshirama Senju's face, the cells of the founder exploded from his arm. Mighty roots drilled into the boy's chest, and he was crushed under the tree. The barks grew and grew and grew. The branches protruded outwards, hitting the ceiling. Danzo breathed heavily. He was down an arm. All his Sharingans were used up, and he was exhausted. It seems Orochimaru would have to make an arm earlier than scheduled. The seals around the room disappeared as he walked towards the jar with the ice. It was then that he heard slow clapping. The boy stood directly in front of him, looking directly in his eye. Genjutsu, Danzo thought. A fist hit his stomach. Danzo's stomach. He retched as he puked. As he slammed into the wall viciously, the seal on the door was undone. The root ninjas rushed inside. 50 of them stood with Torun and Fort the head, ready to strike Naruto down. However, none of them moved. Attack, said Danzo, hoping that it would give him time to escape. As Naruto started to chuckle a bit, until they exploded in smoke. What? Said Danzo. You didn't think I'd give you a chance to begin with, did you? What have you done with them? I killed them all, said Naruto. Every last one of your robots. It was just amusing to see the sight on your face. Besides, they couldn't undo my seal even if they wanted to. As Danzo realized it was just the boy clones. Oh well, I didn't kill Sai. Or perhaps you haven't named him yet. I gave him the code name Dickless. Man, karma is sweet sometimes. To think you'd have mimicked their chakra so perfectly, said Danzo. Well, I could have done that from the beginning, said Naruto, as he snapped his finger. Danzo watches strange beings emerge from the ground. They had yellow eyes, their heads were bald. Their faces were blank. "What are those?" said Danzo. "At first I want to call them Zetsu, but, well, I decided to give them a new name, because I had to rebrand them a bit. So I call them Metsu. Yeah, I know, not the most original, but they're the next gen. And Daddy love all of you," said Naruto. "Thank you, Daddy," they all said. As Naruto sniffed and wiped away an imaginary tear. "They grew up so fast," he said, touching his heart. Danzo knew that he could not win. For Konoha, he would take this boy down along with his abominations. He tore off his clothing, showing his chest. "For Konoha, I will shut the hell up," said Naruto. As Naruto appeared in a red flash and grabbed Danzo's fingers before he literally tore them off. Danzo cried out in pain as his hands dropped to his side. "The Hirishin." "Yep, what about it?" "You know, duh," said Naruto. As Naruto swung his fist downwards, he destroyed Danzo's jaw. As it knocked him down to the ground, Danzo started to crawl away from Naruto Uzumaki. Too strong as blood leaked from his mouth. The phrase was repeated in his head as he found his path blocked by the white sentinels. He got back up as he fell back down from the pain, too much pain rattling in his head. He tried again, but his legs betrayed him as he fell. He fell down to his knees. Naruto stood in front of him, a Sharingan looking over Danzo, as he made a hand sign. "I noticed that you were using wind style a lot." "Vacuum variations. They're fun, aren't they?" Naruto asked, as he brought his open palm in front of his face. "But you really don't know how to use it. Observe. Wind style. Vacuum conversion." As he closed his fists, Danzo started to choke as he felt his lungs being crushed from the inside. Oxygen rushed out of his mouth and nose at an alarming rate as he felt his skull pounding away. "You know, I don't really enjoy torturing people. Well, not physically at least. But with you, there's an exception," as Naruto released a jutsu. "You see, there's a thing I've been working on, and I'm sure that bad boy is starving." He slapped the ground as seals for a stomach spread out. There was a poof. Danzo wished he hadn't seen what he had to see. Before him stood a beast. That was the only way to justify it. A beast. Wooden bones jutted out of his back, chest, hind limbs. It resembled a wolf, only more terrifying. Its fur was white and pale, like death. Black eyes fixated on him as the beast released a roar showing hundreds of sharp teeth, and he had another row of teeth in between. Its saliva dripped to the ground. The ground started to steam and eat away. The claws dig into the ground as the boy patted on the back. I haven't got a name for these boys yet, but all things considered, I'll go with hellhounds. The beast snarled in approval. "Alright, Helly. That's lunch right there. Make sure to pass on his essence to a Metsu. Can't have someone like yourself missing just yet, Danzo. I'm gonna make sure you're gonna have a good rep." Danzo, with all of his strength, all of his will, stood up and started to run. The beast snarled as Danzo collapsed once more. As he turned to see that his legs were gone, the beast started to crunch down, tearing them apart. Shock took over as Naruto waved goodbye. "You concocted your last conspiracy, Shadow Boy." Danzo watches the beast leaped on him. Time skip. Birds chirp as lightning sliced right through flesh, his red eyes scanning everywhere. Orochimaru experiments ran amok and took shelter in one of these villages. Honestly, the snake was sometimes more burden than a bank. Tests, he called them, but they were nothing but chores. That is what Sasuke called them. He had to do more since Gorin had splintered off. Honestly, for the fact if he had not indeed gained power, he would have left Orochimaru as well. But the Sannin did keep his word. Sasuke Uchiha was stronger now, stronger than he's ever been, as he dealt with several Jonin-class enemies. Power ran from his hair to his toenails, and yet the image of his brother flashed in front of him. His heart ached as he remembered a time when he wasn't so alone. As Sasuke sealed away the bodies that Orochimaru needed, he washed his hands as he made his way, a hood over his head, so some ninjas out for a bounty would not recognize him. Sasuke was told to take the Uchiha crest off his clothing by Orochimaru, but he had refused. He understood the attention it would get the rest, but he didn't care. He was Sasuke Uchiha, the last of them. Itachi wasn't. He had forsaken that name all those years ago, on that night. All he did now was for those who had been slaughtered. His parents, his father strict, but caring in his own way. That made Sasuke set high goals for himself. His mother, the lovely woman that always made him smile, even on the dullest of days. Shisui, another man that he respected, betrayed and probably stabbed in the back, just like everyone else, by his brother. Guzu, Yasharu, boys of his age in the clan who he used to spar with. He was doing this for them. He was doing this for all of them. If he didn't wear the crest, the world would move on and forget them. Forget them. He couldn't allow that. Just like how Konoha forget about his family. No one tried to go after Itachi for the slaughter of the Uchiha clan. He went to the third many times. And when it came time to go after Itachi, the man went quiet, always speaking about patience. Maybe he would know what it's like if someone slaughtered his entire family in front of him. Sasuke entered a small food shop and he couldn't believe it. It specialized in ramen. Of all things, he ordered a miso ramen bowl for himself. As he waited, the chit-chat around him increased. Sasuke remembered not too long ago this same village was on the brink of poverty. An iron hand ruled over them all, until a group of shinobi from the Leaf had liberated them. His food arrived and Uchiha quickly dug into his food. The quicker he got out of here, the sooner he could go back to his hideout. Did you hear the news? As people around him started to talk. Yeah, pretty spooky, huh? You think the tales are true? That demons are back? That's taking it a bit too far. I think it's a group of bandits. A really big group of bandits. Well, whoever they are, we'll fight them off. We didn't fight off Gato for nothing. Sasuke shook his head. You didn't fight them. Any of them, he thought. The two big burly men that would hold their own against regular people. He finished his meal as he placed the money on the counter and left. Wave was far more lively than he remembered. As Sasuke stood on the bridge that the village had become popular for. With each step that he took, he saw ghosts. A demon hidden in murderous mists. As he watched himself riddled with needles all over himself as he collapsed. And then someone jumped in the path, pushing him away. His Sharingan burst into life as he released a pulse of chakra, pushing everything away. Pushing past the memories as he walked forward, as he reached the end of the bridge and glanced toward the sign. The Great Naruto Bridge. A rather annoying voice rang in his ear, loud, optimistic, and stupid. But brave. Braver than himself. Once he was far away, he started to leap as he made his way. Arriving back towards the base, he found one of Orochimaru's lesser lackeys who handed him a scroll. This was not the main base. The snake wanted him back at the main base as soon as possible. Apparently there was something he wanted to tell him, face to face. But nothing matters. All that matters was to get stronger. He needed more power. He needed more power to end him. Itachi will pay. He will be the one to slay him, and there will be nothing in this world that will stop him. As he made his way, time skip. Peace was never an option. Not when she was a child. Skirmishing for food. Hiding in broken houses from the rain. Peace was never an option. Holding on to rusty, creaked blades to protect yourself. Never again did Konan want any child to go through what her and her friends did. It was up to her and Nagato to carry on Yaiko's dream. This is why every time she went to the orphanage to make sure they were never short of food, to make sure that the ceilings never leak, to make sure no miserable low life overstepped their boundaries, and to keep that everyone kept the peace that they fought to liberate their village from when Hanzo had made the norm. Never again, she had promised, never again. Hey Miss Angel, look what I made. The sound of the innocence made her smile. These three youngsters, two boy and a girl, made her remember those past days. It was shocking to see how the parallel between herself and her friends between these kids were so similar. A paper dog, isn't it cool? It's very adorable. Her words made the loud one blush a bit. The girl giggled, and the quiet one smiled. As he looked away, don't mind him, Miss Angel. He just doesn't like when someone calls him cute. Because I'm not cute, I'm cool, he said. There. There's nothing wrong with being cute. Well, being cooler is cooler. Cage, you're being loud again. Oi, Yummy, you're supposed to be on my side. Zip it, both of you, the girl said. We don't get Miss Angel to visit us every day. You're making us look bad, Yummy, she said. Shut up, Ruko. Konan patted her heads as she tried to quell the argument. She spared some time with the children before she made her way off, moving towards the Akatsuki headquarters. As she made her way, this wasn't home. The little home that she and Jiraiya and the others had lived in, that was more home than this place. She had made her way as she took a long shower. She then made her way to see Nagato. He had been a bit paler than usual. When she asked him why, he said it was because of lack of sleep. Another village was attacked, Konan. Yes, I heard from one of our spies. It makes no sense. So much conflict in the world. No one wants to understand one another. Just war for power. We will change that. Yes, said Nagato. When the time comes, we will change it all. Nagato, Konan said, sounding curious. Do you know what happened once we seal off all the beasts? I know that we will be taking away the edge all of them hold. Without them, no village will have war deterrents. But our village did not have a Jinchuriki either, and yet, he cut her off. You are right to have your doubts, but do not forget. As he pointed towards his eyes, I have these. When the beasts are sealed away forever, no one will dare provoke them. Unless they want me to destroy their village, they won't take that chance. So, said Konan, we promise. The threat of war to prevent war. Do not think so lowly of me, Konan, he said, his eyes hardened a bit. I do what it must take to prevent war and keep the peace. Tell me what is worse, 1,000 deaths or 1,000,000. I know, rage and war is not the way I want to get peace either. But sometimes a threat is more effective than a simple 3D. She didn't see eye to eye with that, but there was no point of arguing. What about Madara? Him? We'll deal with him when the time arrives. For now we need him. We're already missing 2 members. Not to mention the random village attacks. We will need to get on that as well. I'll look into it myself, Konan assured him as they quietly had dinner. Nagato excused himself early saying he had to do something. As she knew what he was talking about, for all the power he had, he was ashamed of himself, his body. Her friend, and it embarrassed her to think of it. He had a habit, a nasty one. Each day at least 6 times a day. Her friend would be touching himself. She had walked in once, immediately, walking back out. The two had never talked about it. It wasn't that Konan didn't have her lonely nights as well, but she never had the time or luxury to pursue a man. Now in the comfort of her room, she slipped into clothing that was not expected for the angel of the rain. A simple tank top and shorts. Her amber eyes looked through the window. One day there will come a time when this will all be over, hopefully sooner than later. As she looked towards the origami that she was gifted today, Cage said that it was a wolf. Roku said that it was a puppy. And the quiet one, Yami, said it looked like a fox. As she noticed there was a black spot on it. As she undid it, there was writing. For the angel. Cute, she thought. Not cute. Cool. Konan spun around. As she saw the 3 kids in her room, they started to change. They started to grow taller. Their skin becoming white, with yellow eyes. Zetsu? We are a Metsu. They said at the same time. The one on the right transformed into her, and threw a kunai as she caught it. A 3-pronged kunai with scribbling on the handle. She felt her other hand get wet. Black ink drip as it covered the ground. It spread like a wildfire. She prepared herself for an attack. As she moved forward to the kunai, but then she saw. She was in a different room. Blue lights, strange music, a red velvet couch in the center. As she glanced around confused, the scent of sage filled her nostrils. She glanced around, there was no one here. Her right hand was drenched in the black ink that spread so quickly. It refused to come off. Her other hand holding onto the kunai. It started to vibrate as she chucked it towards the wall. It bounced off. Well now, this is a surprise. I didn't think Metsu, number 32, 24 and 8, would have snatched such a rare prize. The blue light dimmed as she looked around. She couldn't find the enemy. Come now, my dear Konan. Don't be so hostile. We're all friends here. She unleashed her deadly papers that surrounded her from all sides. Those were her special ones. Lethal, ready to cut down anything and anyone. She just needed to find him and... boo! The whisper in her ear made her spun as she released a punch. She drove her fist with full force, snapping his jaw. Well, she expected that would happen. But his face did not even move an inch, as her fist was embedded in it. She raised her eyebrow. She took in his appearance. He was wearing shorts, an unbuttoned shirt, as he was also wearing sunglasses. He had a thick mane of red hair that went into his back. He was completely unfazed, but her fist on the other hand, it was not. Pain shoot through her hand. As the adrenaline faded, she jumped back. As she caressed her fists, her papers all surrounding him turned to shurikens. Her papers were strong enough to cut through bone and flesh. She's seen it before, but when they attack... What the hell? She didn't understand. When they hit him, it did nothing. Are we really doing this? He asked. He made an arc with his hand as he cut down hundreds of her shuriken like it was nothing. One of them came close to nicking his shades, but he reached his hand up and finger flicked it as he crashed into 3 others, until that collided several more, and they all clashed and shredded each other. As the papers fell to the ground, he simply whistled. You know, when people try to kill me, I find it hilarious. But as he stepped over the weapons, when a darling angel like yourself get involved, I just can't control myself. I've been having too much of these dirty thoughts nowadays. Oh well, at least they always get taken care of. She focused her chakra as she released more papers. She covered the entire room. She didn't have a choice, her enemy was strong, and she needed to use this. Explosive tags all around. She used protective layers of paper to cover herself as much as possible. It wouldn't be as strong as her countermeasure in the hidden rain, but this would have to do. Whoa, that's a lot of paper balls. Die, she said. Huh, ominous. As her jutsu activated, he smiled and took off his glasses, revealing his crimson eyes. That is when she realized who it was. The whisker marks were gone, but she knew his face too well. Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinjulki had been hiding, and know she was gonna kill him through this act. The explosion went off, but then another noise could be heard that overpowered the sound of explosive wind. Her eyes went wide as all the explosions were sucked up into heavens by a rush of wind that just pulled them all up. She watched as they were all just sucked away. Impossible, she said. Not really, said Naruto. Wind style, super vacuum, clean and spare. It's the cleanest jutsu I have. It will clean the place of everything. Blood, guts, bone, trees, steel, explosives, you name it. It will suck it all, said Naruto. No wait, vacuum it. Yes, that's what I meant. You're alive. You're supposed to be dead. People keep on telling me that. Why did you bring me here, she said. She was still ready to fight, despite her chakra being lower than she wanted it to. Metsu bring you here. A little heads up would have been nice, but this is good timing on their part. I want to talk to you, Konan. You see, I got a few plans, and I don't want said plans to be delayed. So I kinda gotta sorta need you to do something for me. And before you ask, yes, there's something in it for you as well. Something I'm sure that you will love. What's that? Maybe we can work out a deal. He clapped his hand. She was in no condition to fight, and she did not know how strong the Jinjulki was. Apart from his display in Winjutsu, he looked to be ridiculously strong. He looked a lot older as well. A lot older than he's supposed to look like. Perhaps a growth spurt, perhaps a mutation of the Kyuubi. Perhaps Kano had lied about the situation so they could train him in secret to become their lethal weapon. She would not put that past them. Splendid, he said. He snapped his finger, a hole in the ear appeared. 2 glasses and a bottle appeared. Here is the Akatsuki demise. The moment the words slipped from his lips. What? I said, here is the Akatsuki demise. You want me to destroy the group I'm a part of, she said. She looked towards the exit, one door behind his back. Well, I'll be destroying it. But sure, you can destroy it too, he said. You're insane, she said. Says the woman that does the bidding of a so-called god. The god of wheelchairs, maybe. A cripple with a rain gun, I'm sure I can make a joke out of it. Konan rushed forward. As she threw her leg, he grabbed it, she twisted mid-air and brought her other leg. But he ducked. She brought her heel downwards, but he pulled back. But he had to release her to avoid it. Very good, Konan. We never got a chance to know each other last time. Let's not let this time go to waste, shall we? She produced more shurikens. Physically, he was a lot stronger than her. As her hand was still swelling and aching, he was also a lot reactive. She didn't need to beat him though. Only thing she needed to do is leave this room and go back to the hidden rain. The Zetsu clone that morphed into her she feared had the same property of the human clones. Nagato would be in danger. He flicked his finger several times. All of her shurikens were just ripped apart as he kept on finger flicking all of them, like they were nothing. I really appreciate you letting me finish, he said. You want to destroy the Akatsuki, she said. Wings came from her back. You call my friend a cripple, and you expect me to help you? That sounds about right, said Naruto as he rubbed his chin. Besides, I'm sure hanging around that cripple isn't really that fun. Konan knew. She knew that he was calling Nagato that to rile him up. You stop calling him that! As it was getting to her. What do you want me to call him then? Physically challenged? Different people? Handicapable? Changing the words won't change what he is. Now would it? I prefer simple, direct, and honest language. Cripple. Repeat after me. Cripple. Konan rushed for the right fist filled with fury as she aimed toward his face. She stopped. The ink from her hand had disappeared as she stopped. Bring your hand to her side. Her body was moving on its own. She wasn't in control. She wanted to punch him, stab him. But he reached up and patted her on the cheek. You really should pay attention to everything, he said. Your cheeks are really soft. What moisturizer do you use? What did you do to me? Answer me, she yelled. Quiet, he said, as her mouth shut. You're being so loud, Konan. It doesn't suit you. Speak in a softer tone. What the hell have you done? Her voice was calm, sweet, despite the rage that she was feeling. I put a lovely, well-layered seal on you. He released her cheek. It's called the human puppet seal. Mind you, this was not that easy to make. Many trials and mistakes, but I finally worked the kinks out. The human mind is so fragile when you pull it apart by the threads. Some of them committed suicide when I was not paying a lot of attention. I felt horrible, but then I got some oral. She narrowed her gaze dangerously. Is this all a game to you, she asked. No, not really. I do call something else a game though. As he walked toward the table, she was forced to follow him. As he poured drinks in the glasses for them, she took the glass as she swirled it. She had to state the smell before she drank some. She didn't stop as she drank it all. You see, Konan, the game is rigged. When I was alone, I noticed so many things. I tried to recreate it, you know. All of it. In the end, history kept on repeating itself. The players changed. The game remained the same. What are you talking about, she asked. In time, Konan, you'll understand why I did the things I did. He stroked her cheek. She wanted to rip his fingers off instead. She leaned into his touch. It's a terrible feeling, isn't it? To do things on someone bidden. Yes, she said as she took his hand and made him cough both of her cheeks. I'll kill you, she said. A kunai appeared in his hand as he gave it to her. Okay, go ahead. She stabbed him in the heart. The kunai broke. She stabbed him over and over the broken kunai, but the edges simply break against his skin. You can't kill me, even on your best day. I'll find a way. No, you won't. I won't, she said. You'll be my spy within the Akatsuki. I'll be your spy, she said. You will tell me everything the cripple does. I will tell you everything the cripple does. As she felt pain in her chest, she hated saying that. Who's a good girl? I'm a good girl, she said. Yes, you are, he said as he patted her on the head. As she smiled. Never in her life did she want to cry more than she felt right then and there. Good. Now I need you to answer something honestly. I will. I know, he said as he cuffed her chin. When was the last time you had sex? Years ago, she said. With who? Yaiko. I knew that you two were a thing. We weren't a thing, it just happened. It's no biggie, after all everyone's an ex of someone, or so one of Jiraiya books said. Hey, as he poured another drink, finish your rest, will you? As she drank it off. As he got up and walked over to the side. When Konan turned, she couldn't believe it. There he stood. There was not even a single ounce of clothing on him. He was completely naked. As Konan couldn't help but feel her feet, picking herself up. You bastard, she said, as she couldn't control her movements. As she walked towards him, calm. All the while she couldn't pull her gaze away from looking down. Her mind was telling her that she needed to do what she had to do. As she couldn't fight it off. She tried to glare, she tried to shout, but she just could not. As she was forced to go down on her knees. As she saw him smiling, but yet there was nothing that she could do to stop him. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part, then do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.